From the Olympics in Sochi to the Special Olympics, but we got a lot to talk about before we get to that. Let's go. Good evening and welcome to My State of Mind. I am Dan Yorke. We're settled in here today. Yesterday was hectic. Weather, cancellations, guests, this, that. Thank goodness Ted Nesi showed up. And if I learn how to put on my makeup, I'll look better. I should look better today. Yeah, of course. I got a face made for radio, for crying out loud. And I proved it last night. That's for my wife, who told me, don't bring that up, just move on. I have a hard time. I'm slightly obsessive. Anyway, I used the right light tonight, I think. Let's go. Tonight we have Dennis DeJesus from the Special Olympics, and they've got. I love talking about the Special Olympics. They have such a great story, and of course it coincides with the real Olympics that are beginning now. Have begun all day long, and we've got commentary on that. So let's get to the rundown and start this show on the road. What is so self-explanatory sometimes seems so fleeting to everybody. This is a poignant story, and one that I've got some questions, something for you to ponder. This is political, and, well, welcome to the 2014 season. What else do we have tonight? This is dangerous. This is silly. And that is a complete puzzle. Let's go. Steve gives me the first item. Slow down, you're moving too fast. You gotta make your commute last. Sorry. Sean Daly was cracking me up last night with the snow coverage. I'm starting with the snow coverage. A little lighter conversation. It's not often that you get an interview hanging over the median of the highway, but if Sean Daly is out there, it gets done.
As a tow guy, what's the overarching message for driving in the snow, based on what you've seen in your long career?
Drive slow. Drive slow. Slow as possible.
Just slow down and give yourself time. There's no reason to rush. You want to get there safely. If you run off the road and get in an accident, you won't be getting there. So just slow down.
Now that's okay. The trooper makes a great point there. Don't let that go by you. If you end up on the shoulder, all rolled over, or, up against a guardrail sideways, you ain't getting there on time anyway. I just think it's so funny that we always tell you to slow down. Slow down, give yourself some extra time. But people they don't do it. I finally realized why we tell you all the time to slow down, because people don't do it. I mean, I was doing 25 on Route 146 yesterday morning. I got a guy on my rear end, and what do? Flip him the bird? I don't want to take my hand off the steering wheel. Where's Sean Daly when I need him? Don't you like that? Right over the highway median with the traffic backing up just for it. only Sean can get away with that. All right, let's get back into some things that are wholly more important. And frankly, this is sad and tragic. The headline here, New York Daily News, Philip Seymour Hoffman's number found on cell phones in suspected drug dealer's apartment. Listen, this guy's a great actor. He's a great actor. God bless him. He's found with a needle in his arm in his bathroom this past weekend. It broke my heart. I've enjoyed his work so much. Now they say that they've got these people, right? So these are the people that were dealing to him, and they're all kind of, selling each other out probably in the courtroom. I'm looking at this story today, and the diligence that law enforcement is using in trying to find who sold the dope to the famous actor, right? And then there's this headline in our local news. Deaths from overdoses rise to 27 in January. That is an average of almost one drug overdose death daily in the state of Rhode Island this past month. 22 of the 27 had to do with heroin and maybe a mix of fentanyl, which just accelerates the whole high. I don't get the heroin experience. Most of us don't, thankfully. But what's interesting to me is, and sad in reflection, it's not an equal society. We're all equal under God's eyes, right? But everyone's out there looking for whoever sold Philip Seymour Hoffman the dope, but no one's looking for who sold those 27 people the dope. There's no moral to the story. It's just that even in that tragic environment, the world is not even close to fair. Next item. Okay, this takes a little explanation. This is about our state treasurer, and here is a headline in a Wall Street Journal op-ed piece which was published yesterday. The education of Gina Raimondo. Again, this is an opinion piece, and what it talks about, let me read the first paragraph or two here as we take a look at Gina. It isn't easy being a reformed Democrat these days, writes the Journal, Wall Street Journal. Witness the decision last week by Rhode Island Treasurer Gina Raimondo, heretofore a hero of pension reform, to buckle under pressure from the teachers union and dump a hedge fund run by a supporter of education choice. And they point out that in 2011, Gina Raimondo was a champion of pension reform. She was the lead mover and shaker. I think her track record on that is obvious. Now that she's running for governor, she's kind of turned into a politician. In fact, at the end, they call her a politician, which must have shocked her because she likes to consider herself not to be a politician. But once you start running for office, you are a politician. It doesn't make you a devil. It just makes you a politician. Anyway, this hedge fund guy, he's got a $50 million piece of the hedge fund component in the state of Rhode Island's pension portfolio. It's performing well, very, very well. But the State Investment Commission decided to take it out of the loop. And when questions were asked, her office said, oh, it's not political. Well, of course she's going to say that. But what's obvious is it's performing well. This guy actually was on the board of this organization that gave Gina Raimondo an award a year or two ago based on her public performance. And he's also a fan of charter schools. Follow this now. He's put $3 million of his own money into a New York City charter school project. In fact, he's so belligerent about it, I guess, and proud of it. I support charter schools, so we'll say he's proud of it, that he named in honor, the donation came in honor of the head of the American Federation of Teachers, who is at loggerheads with him. The unions don't like this charter supporter, who happens to be the hedge fund guy, so all of a sudden, he's out of the portfolio. It is political. It's Gina Raimondo just trying to shave the white noise and political liabilities. Thing is, she's not going to get any support at all from the unions, and I don't know why she's, behaving this way. This is a fiduciary responsibility that's now getting a political tarnish to it. Ken Block, the Republican candidate for governor, dialed my radio show today and put it rather bluntly.
A lot of people right now who are scratching their heads and wondering, what is the treasurer doing and where is she going? Because this treasurer now is not the same treasurer of 2012. And for those who donated to her or asking those questions, I think that it's a very appropriate question for them to ask of her. Maybe I should get my money back.
Do you ever hear the old Meatloaf tune? I want my money back. No? Well, I'm a Meatloaf fan. Kind of reminded me of that. The funny thing is, the only political opponent that's going to give her a hard time about this is on the Republican side. Why? Because the other Democrats also want to curry favor with the unions, and they won't make any hay out of this. She thinks she's just going to get away with this one. I'm looking forward to her appearance here on this television show. It's another one of those things she and I will speak about. Let's move on. This is not good. This is not good. It looks like it's good, but it's not good. The headline on this in the paper today tells you all about it. A House panel okays bill to facilitate settlements. This is about 38 Studio. And Kurt Schilling, by the way, we wish Kurt Schilling the best. He's diagnosed recently with cancer. We don't know the details, but we have good hopes for him. This is a legislative move to consolidate all of the people who may be able to pay us on the debt, who might have liability, professional or personal, corporate or business, whatever, and make sure that they don't have to pay any other debt. In other words, it's kind of like a station nightclub fire legal instrument. The reason why this will probably fly through the General Assembly over my protest is that it consolidates the debt and makes the lawyer work easier and offers protections to the people who pay the debt. The real protection is for the House and Senate leadership, who with a deal like this don't have to answer a lot of questions. That's why they love it. Next. This is just silly. Peter Kilmartin, the Attorney General, is just cracking me up here. So Peter Kilmartin, who's like the AG on a milk carton, you can never find him when you need him. 38 Studios or gosh knows what else. I guess he's got a home in Florida, in Sarasota. And he was vacationing there a couple of weeks ago, and he was at an art festival, and the local television station, you know how on the weekends they do these silly stories to fill time? Oh, the art festival, da-da-da-da-da-da. And so he was asked about the art festival.
There's such diversity and such creativity. It's really amazing to see the talent on display. I just wish I had a lot of money so I could afford it all.
So this first came to my attention by the work of my friend Matt Allen on WPRO. He's weeknights 6 to 9. What you didn't see underneath my little block there, my Dan Yorke State of Mind, was the word Sarasota. They listed him as a Sarasota, Florida resident. Now Dawson Hodgson, the attorney, who's also a senator, who's now looking to become the attorney general, has announced that he will run as a Republican, is calling out Mr. Kilmartin.
You know, here we have a newscast, maybe erroneously saying that he's a Florida resident. It's a pretty simple matter of coming forward and saying, hey, I'm in Florida every once in a while. But maybe that's not the case. You know, it's a pretty easy thing to tell us, you know, how many weeks a year are you in Florida?
Is this a smoking gun? I don't think so. Is Peter Kilmartin legally living in Rhode Island? I'm guessing so. But you know what? It's been a couple of days now this story's been out, and he hasn't responded. And now I'm sure he's going to be offended that he has to respond to a potential political opponent or one who's announced. Peter, do the smart thing. Come away from the Milk Carton Act. Tell everybody how much time you spend on vacation in Florida. Clear up the whole matter before it becomes a ridiculous story that you let get away simply because you like to chat about your art. And finally, why did the Olympic Committee choose this place? Here's the headline: Olympic-sized failure, journalists revolt over lousy Sochi conditions. Have you seen some of these pictures and some of these tweets? Just ridiculous. Here's one reporter who's showing his fancy drapes knot that fell down on the floor. A couple of other reporters tweet out the following: miss you, hot water in my hotel. You were great. How about this one? My hotel has no water. If restored, they tell me don't use it on your face because it contains something very dangerous. Yeah, pretty good move to make sure that the people who are your public relation agents, you know, the people telling the story from Sochi, you know, to put them into third world category. $50 billion for this Olympics. $50 billion. And they weren't ready even this morning. Good luck to the athletes. Hopefully these terror threats are all not to come to fruition, right? Goodness. All right. When we come back, the Olympics of a special kind. Always a great conversation. Stay with us. So I thought Jess had a great idea. While the Olympics are going on in Sochi, it's a good time to talk about the Special Olympics, which go on around the calendar. Such a cool thing. You've seen I just love watching the competition. To be honest with you, I'm the kind of guy that'll watch a Tiddlywinks game for anybody. I mean, I don't care who's competing and everything. And I don't care if it's special or the traditional Olympics. It's fun competition, and the truth of the matter is, Dennis, this is real competition.
Absolutely.
And we, you know, while we all have a really soft spot in our heart, understandably for those with disabilities, many of them with Down syndrome and the like, and we say, oh, so cute. They view it as something absolutely competitively, goal-oriented, important, all that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Olympians who train, they train year-round. Many of them play multi-sports. We host 1,600 events during the course of a year from January through December.
Wow.
And most of our athletes play multi-sports, and they take it serious. They compete, they train, they get ready, and they put it out there on the floor.
The history of the Special Olympics is
1968, Eunice Kennedy Shriver,
right,
in the backyard, had her first swimming competition in her home in Bethesda, Maryland. Today, 4 million athletes, 120 countries throughout the world. And Special
What a
Olympics,
legacy she leaves with that move, isn't it? Incredible.
the Special Olympics likes to say it is the largest social movement in the history of the world. 4 million participants in 120 countries.
What does that say?
It says that people with intellectual disabilities have the opportunity that they didn't have 40, 50 years ago. And that opportunity, that transcends into participation. But more than that, I think it translates into self-confidence, self-esteem. They're living in our neighborhoods. They're going to school in our neighborhoods. So much has changed dramatically in 50 years. The days of the student being in the intellectual disability, student special needs down the end of the corridor, they come out for lunch and they go back in their room. Those days are long gone. And I think a lot of it has to do with Special Olympics and that ability to showcase their talents that has led to so many dramatic social improvements for them.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever thought of it that way, but I think you're absolutely right. When we come back, we'll list for you some of the things that go on year-round, the most important events, how you can help, and all of that, and a broader conversation about how important this project is. Stay with us. Just some of the fun and frolic that some of the Lynn television folks have had, and of course this is the what time of year is this for the Special Olympics? This jump into the water. How cold was it, Dennis?
That is March 1st. This year will be March. This is March when we do the torch run plunge. We do a penguin plunge on January 1.
That's the one I want.
Yeah.
Where do you do that?
That's at Roger Wheeler State Beach.
Okay.
About 750 participants.
Yeah.
12 noon.
Yeah.
One criteria.
What?
You got to go under.
Well, I mean,
you can't walk in and walk out. You have to go under and make the plunge.
I have been. That's on my bucket list. Not you?
I've done it.
You just watched?
I've done it 3 times.
Well, we had a couple of New Year's days ago. New Year's days. A couple of years ago, we had a New Year's Day.
2012.
That was warm.
50 degrees.
Oh.
That was my first time.
Oh.
My wife said to me, if you're going to do it, that's what they said to me. My wife said, if you're going to do it, this is the year. But then they said to me when I came out of the water, doesn't count too warm.
No.
So I went in the next year, and it was a little colder. I went in this year.
You did?
It was frigid.
Ice cold.
Frigid.
Well, congratulations.
Ice cold. Ice cold. Extremities came back sometime around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But it was really something. But I raised about $3,500. It was the first time I asked people for money for the plunge.
Just for that one event.
Yeah, just for that.
And I think we have information on that. We could pop that up. I think we have. Do we have torch run information? Just throw up what we can. Listen, anything that says Special Olympics, send some dough. You should just put it up anyway. There, 12 noon. That's again coming up this March. What?
March 2nd.
March 2nd. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it'll be like 45 degrees. That doesn't qualify.
But now there is a super plunge going on that day. Let me tell you about the super plunge.
Super plunge.
Starts at 12 o'clock on Saturday. We have 3 individuals who will plunge every hour on the hour for 24 hours. They're going from 12 noon on Saturday to 12 noon on Sunday. 24 plunges.
Who's the sicko who came up with that?
The head of our torch run committee is Chief Elwood Johnson from the town of Richmond. And this was his baby. He did it last year by himself.
Really?
This year he's got 2 cohorts going to join him.
No hypothermia? No problems?
No. Well, I heard that this year they're adding a hot tub.
They should.
On the beach. It is something to see because I was there with Elwood until about 2 o'clock in the morning last year. And you have to film it to verify the fact that you went in 24 times. There's a minimum amount to raise. You have to raise $5,000 for Special Olympics. And all 3 of this year's participants are extremely gung-ho and looking forward to the super plunge.
It's cool stuff. You know, no matter what the fundraiser, and there's always a lot of fun in Special Olympics fundraising, it goes to a cause which really, it's so broad. And it's so important. And I think the equity on mental health that you talked about in the last segment is really what it's all about, and respect for human dignity. And all you got to do is spend some time with these young people, and you know, the medical world's getting better, and they're, you know, the kids that you lose early on are living longer and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they're so raw and so real, right?
No boundaries.
No boundaries.
No boundaries.
But no baggage.
No. You walk into an event, you might think I don't know who. You walk in, they're yelling for you, they're thanking you, they're hugging you. It lifts you off the ground 10 feet. I've always said that if we get you to an event, we got you hooked. You're going to come back.
No doubt.
You're going to come back. And just to see there, like you said about dignity, They fight every day for inclusion, respect, dignity, and acceptance every day. And I think through Special Olympics and other great organizations that deal with people with intellectual disabilities, they're achieving those goals, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. So again, one more time, we should put up a little bit of information as to how either, whether it's the torch run or just in general, SpecialOlympicsRI.org is a place that you can log on to and contribute to. I'll tell you, the contributions go a long way. And when you contribute here locally, what happens to that money?
Everything goes directly to our
Right.
chapter. Telemarketing, we have to share those proceeds with Special Olympics International. But if someone goes on our website and presses our donate button, that donation's coming directly to the athletes of Special Olympics Rhode Island.
All right. So maybe you get a little loose, because spring is coming and March 2nd will be here, geez, before you know it. Good work.
Thank you.
When we come back, your state of mind. Stay with us. Well, it's time for Your State of Mind, and this is how you get in touch with the program. Of course, you can email me at stateofmind@myritv.com, or you can leave a voicemail, and we play them on the air, as evidenced by previous shows. And of course, you can tweet and Facebook post. And we have a couple of Facebook posts regarding some commentary here regarding this guy. You may have seen him before. He's the former mayor twice of the city of Providence, and adjacent to me on WPRO on the radio. He's battling a little bit of a health challenge right now, but he's battling and telling everybody he's running for mayor. And so when we brought it up with Joe Paolino the other day, we got these kinds of responses on the Facebook post. If that felonious Nimrod runs and wins again, I may never move back from China. Really, Patricia? Are you watching this show in China? He would do a great job. He did in the past, and with lessons learned, says Bruce. Everyone's got a different point of view, and should he run, there'll be a lot articulated. You have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 7:30 on MyRI TV. Bye.